Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Powerful Stuff. You guys, I cannot believe I haven't made a specific episode for this because it is crazy. I talk about it in every single fucking episode. I talk about it on every single one of my coaching calls. And what is it? Drum roll. Brrr. It is self-compassion, being kind to ourselves, giving ourselves the same grace, the same patience, the same generosity that we give friends, that we give foes, that we give coworkers, that we give our partner, that we give our children. But why is it so freaking difficult to give it to ourselves? You guys, self-compassion isn't just like a nice to have. It is a fucking necessity. And here's why. When we do not have self-compassion, we are constantly sending ourselves the message that you are not enough. No matter what you do, you are not enough. So we will always be in high achiever mode. We will always be trying to prove. We will always be searching for validation from others. We won't be able to fully relax and enjoy our life, even if we have the things that we say we want to have. And we'll always be on the lookout for instances where we are not enough. We need to keep going. We need to constantly, be vigilant. And this is going to send our nervous system into a tailspin. And on the same but different side of that, um, you know, not having self-compassion is also probably blocking our blessings because, as you've heard me say in many other Powerful Stuff episodes, gratitude is the bedrock of manifestation. And the number one thing to be grateful for is me, myself, and I, being grateful for ourselves, being that parent to our own inner child, whether we had a great childhood or a shitty childhood or somewhere in between. It's like we are always going to be the parent now to our inner child, no matter if we have a partner or don't have a partner, have kids, don't have kids, never want kids, no matter what, we are always going to be the parent to our inner child. And self-compassion is really the practice of consciously parenting our inner child, validating their feelings, acknowledging when there's ouchies, giving them a surprise where we pick them up from school early and take them for a little vegan, gluten-free ice cream cone, just because, not because they got all A's, but because they fucking, deserve it just for being them. They're fucking worth it. And when we have self-compassion, what is actually happening is we are sending the message to our subconscious, like, you are enough just as you are. And when we send that message, guess what? Our self-worth gets higher. And as our self-worth gets higher, we start trusting our intuition because we trust in our self-worth. As we trust in our intuition, we're able to take those big swings, listen out for those intuitive pings that end up allowing us to step into our dream vision with more ease. And not only that, but guys, it makes us fucking magnetic. Have you ever seen somebody who you're like, that is somebody who knows who they are? They walk into a room and you can feel their rootedness or their centeredness, and you can, see that they have boundaries for themselves because they love themselves so much. They love how they spend time with themselves, and not in a conceited navel gazing way, but just like they know what it takes to be a good fucking parent to their inner child, and they're doing it. Just like, now that I have my son Atlas, I'm like, I want him to be well fed, have good naps, his needs are attended to. I speak to him sweetly. And it's like, I need to give that to inner Meredith too. And it's like, that's what makes for a happy, a happy baby, as they say. I don't want to speak for Atlas, but I like to think he's a happy guy. He certainly smiles a lot. He's so cute. But anyways, all that's to say, guys, that's what we're going to be talking about today with self-compassion. So I often find with my clients, it is so hard for them, and I'll talk about my clients and I'll talk about myself. It's so hard for them to give themselves self-compassion. One of the number one questions I always ask my clients is, would you talk to a friend this way? Would you talk to a coworker this way? Would you talk to a spouse this way? And they're like, no, I would tell them this, or I tell them it's okay. You're doing so much. You're doing so much. And then my next question is always, and why are you doing it to yourself? And they're like, oh, it's just so hard for me to give that to myself or to feel like I'm worth it. Or they get like a block, they tense up, they contract when I ask them this question. And it's so interesting because it's like, you think we'd be the easiest person to give it to because it's ourselves, but we're in fact the hardest. And why is that? And oftentimes there's a few things at play. Number one, it's unfamiliar, right? It feels vulnerable. It feels uncomfortable. We might have narratives around it's conceited if I give myself this energy or attention. It's, um, you know, I don't need it. Maybe there's like a martyr story going on in the background that our parents have had that we've inherited, or we somehow think that we're more useful if we're meeting other people's needs first. And if we were a martyr or people pleaser, we'd become so disconnected from our own needs that we don't even know what they are. We're like, I remember, oh my gosh, cringe. One time I was like, you know, um, on a date with this guy, and, you know, he was like talking about what he liked. And I was like, he was like, what do you like? And the words that just came out of my mouth, whatever you like. And I was like, oh my God, you know, and then I could feel him pulling away. And And then I was just like, "What? Like, I have other interests, I have likes, why did I just fucking say that?" It was, like, such a weird, like, cringe moment, but I have compassion, of course, for that version of Meredith who said that. But, it's just, like, this kind of poignant moment that demonstrates, like, at the time, I was so wanting this guy to like me that I was trying to, like, mold myself into something that I wasn't to, like, please him, and I've since done a lot of self-work on myself, thankfully, but I always look back at that, and I'm like, I can remember it so vividly, and bless little Meredith's heart who said that. But all of that's to say, guys, you know, so these are a few things that come up around self-compassion. Why it's so hard to be kind to ourselves is maybe we feel like we don't deserve it, or we feel like if we do, we'll be too soft, or yeah, like I said, we'll be conceited, we'll be going against this like martyr narrative that we have in our head. And so the first step to acknowledging that is like, what stories do I have around being nice to myself? Like, do I feel like it makes me weak? Do I feel like it makes me conceited? Just like acknowledging that. Where does that come from? Does that come from your parents? Does that come from like an instance in adolescence or when you were in high school? And just start to address that. I came from this breeding ground of like high achievers, and I put a lot of pressure on myself, even though I had like very loving parents. And especially then in college, like going to a place like Harvard that reinforced it, where I felt like a lot um, of the culture that I perceived was like wanting to like, prove or get these accolades. And in high school too, even before Harvard, it was like, because I was kind of a lone wolf in some ways, um, I used my achievements to like validate myself and make up for what I felt like, areas where I didn't quite fit in. And so all of that's to say, it's like kind of feeding whatever narrative of like, I am not enough. I need to keep proving. I need to keep proving versus like the self compassion being like, I love myself just as I am. It's okay to experience this emotion or whatever. However, the first step is noticing where did those old stories come from? Why are they showing up? And what do we fear will happen if we do if we do throw ourselves a little bone and give ourselves a little self compassion? We're going to like wither away, like in Wizard of Oz, like I'm melting. What do we fear will happen if we give ourselves self compassion? Do we fear, like, as high achiever, potentially, do you fear that you'll become lazy, that you won't achieve as much if you're not hard on yourself? Do you feel like it's this either or, of like either I give myself grace or I like achieve a lot? So like look at where those binary beliefs of either or are coming in. And then after you've kind of acknowledged like where is this showing up, like what is on the other side of that? What is the alternative? What is the cost if I don't give myself self-compassion? How in the next year, in 10 years, in 20 years, does that negatively impact like my experience or enjoyment of life? How does that negatively impact my relationships? Like if I'm hard on myself, like how does that affect my relationship with my partner, with my kids, with my friends, right? Like it might be like, wow, even if I wasn't doing this for myself, which is like a meta concept in itself, but like that would kind of really bring my friends down if I'm constantly always like shitting on myself and having a wall up, like won't really ever be able to be, you know, deepen intimacy with them or with my partner, right? If I'm constantly hard on myself and I don't soften or allow myself to receive from my partner, which might make my partner feel great, and what is the cost for, like, let's say if you have kids or if you want kids, like 20 years from now, if we say we want our kids to be kind to themselves, to know they love themselves, to know they're enough, it's not just us telling them that, right? As Dr. Shafati pointed out when I saw her speak at Summit at Sea, who is expert in conscious parenting, like, they don't just learn from us telling them, like, you are this thing, right? You're kind, you are enough. They learn from how we treat ourselves. So, like, if you're not giving yourself compassion, how does that affect your kids in 20 years? You know? So once we acknowledge the cost, it's like, ooh, that is a dagger to the heart, you know? You don't want your whole life to feel like your inner child is scraping for breadcrumbs of affection from you, because as you can tap into that wellspring for yourself, you can tap into it with others. Like, we can truly only give others the same compassion and grace that we've been able to give ourselves, And if we think we have been or can otherwise, it's often does end up leading to resentment or depletion in the long run. So I would really, really look and try to kind of question the beliefs that come up around that, because the more we can give it to ourselves, the more deeply we can give it to others, of course. So after we've looked at the cost of it, then it's like, what does self-compassion look like right now? Maybe we don't even know what that is. And the quickest or easiest place to start is like, what do I need right now? What do I need? Do I need to cry? Do I need to um, accept that I'm having a low moment? Do I need to rest? Do I need to pause? Like, where is it where I'm still holding tension, and what do I need? And the first few times you check in with yourself about what you need, you might not fucking know, because your voice might be so quiet or disconnected because you haven't been asking yourself these questions. So don't get frustrated if the first week, the first month, you don't hear anything when you close your eyes and you tune in to your highest self, your inner child, um, or your body or your intellectual self, as Hoffman process would say, the quadrinity, right? Your body, your intellectual self, your emotional self, and your spiritual self. Like, don't be alarmed if you don't get an answer from them, because it's like they've gone however many decades of your life with never being used to you checking in on them. Kind of like if you had a rupture with a friend and then all of a sudden you're like, what do you want to do today? They'd be like, how do I know that, like, you're safe to trust again? How do I know that you're reliable, right? You would have to earn that trust over time through showing up, and then slowly they might let you in again, and slowly they might reveal their inner world, but they're not going to do it day one. It's going to take time. And so with yourself, it's like checking in. What do you need? What do you need today? And then showing that part of yourself. When you speak, I listen. When you speak, I listen. And I like to call it going to the self-trust gym, doing these little tiny things over time that help strengthen trust, that are lower stakes. Like, okay, I need to go for a walk and leave my phone at home today. Done. I need to just treat myself to a nice dinner tonight, to go out for a little solo dinner. Done. And so it's like these little things that slowly help us get in tune. And the first step to self-compassion is really looking for, I said, first step is looking at the old beliefs. What is the cost if I don't change? But the first overall, okay, little mom brain. What I'm trying to say is, like, the perfect place to start each day is, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? And what does that feeling require or need to be metabolized or processed, right? You might feel like you need to cry or scream, or you might need a hug, or you might want external support. You might want to ask, like, your partner or someone, like, oof. Self-compassion is saying, I'm having a hard day, to someone and asking them for a hug, So it's like, what do you need in order to feel like safe and in order to feel seen? And of course, some tools of this are, I love writing my inner child a letter and seeing, like, what does she need? And also acknowledging all that she's been through with me. Like, hey, I know change isn't easy. Like, I know there's a new baby in the house now with Atlas, and, like, you're doing a lot. And, like, what do you need from me to feel seen? Right. To my inner child. Or another great way of doing it is having writing a letter to my present self from my inner child, right? There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's, as they say. Um, but another like instance of that is like, writing a letter from your highest self to your present self. So it's just like communication between the different parts of yourself, and maybe you rotate like or role play which part of yourself is receiving and speaking in those letters. But that's a great place to start, talking to yourself in the mirror, like telling yourself like, oh, don't need to sugarcoat things with like affirmations immediately, but like acknowledging what you're feeling, like, oh, today's a hard day. I know this is like, I'm proud of you for showing up and taking a shower and leaning in anyways. Or self-compassion doesn't always have to be just the hard feelings. It can be like, you're doing fucking amazing today. And I just want to take a second to acknowledge you. Like, you're showing up for your friends. You're, postpartum, you're also showing up for your clients. Like, go Meredith. Like, I'm fucking proud of you. Like, acknowledging the good moments too, not just the hard moments, and like celebrating. Self-compassion can be like, I want to turn off my phone and do a little self-care date and like sing in the shower for 20 minutes or whatever it might be. So checking in with the feelings, processing them, and then actually like taking time to be with yourself each week. Ideally each day. It doesn't have to be super long, but definitely each week where you're truly like not on your phone, on airplane mode. Like with my son, for instance, like I don't want him to see that I'm choosing my screen over him, right? I want him to know he is chosen. How do I give that same level of presence to myself? And that often comes with like, you know, yeah, putting my phone away and not just being with myself, but scrolling or whatever it might be. Or, TV shows are and movies all have a time and place, but like really like sitting with myself, like, what am I feeling? Like, what wants to come through? And sometimes self compassion also looks like allowing ourselves to have like a little bit of creativity or a little bit of play. Um, and a lot of permission. My last episode 2 weeks ago was called Permission Granted, about giving ourselves permission, which is also a form of self compassion. So, like, where have you been saying, I should do this or I should do that, right? Because that's also causing an energetic blockage. And how can you say, you know, I'm going to shed the shoulds. I'm going to give myself permission. I'm going to give myself permission to rest. I'm going to give myself permission to, you know, cut work early on a Tuesday and have a little fun because I'm feeling tense. I'm going to give myself permission to, do whatever it might be. So all of that's to say, when we start shedding the shoulds, when we start granting permission and we start sitting with our inner child, that's when like we start to soften. And when we start to soften, this is an analogy that I love, that I brought up on Powerful Stuff all the time, but that peace that we're searching for, that fulfillment, it's like chasing that butterfly, right? In the garden, we chase it, it flies away. But when we have self-compassion, when we say to ourselves, like, I am happy with you right here, right now, that peace starts to blossom from the inside out. And as we start to water our own garden, the butterfly lands on our shoulder. And other people also want to be around us more because they see that we're loving ourself, and that love for ourself radiates out as self-worth. And thus, we present a more grounded, centered, and radiant self for others. And everyone wants to come to our garden. And how beautiful is that? And guys, this is a constant practice for me. Going into a personal example, like being postpartum, you know, and when I'm not postpartum, I'm luteal every month, and when I'm not luteal, I'm just a woman. And then when I'm not just a woman, I'm just a human. So it's like, you know, there's so many reasons and ways to give ourselves compassion, but it's been acutely brought to my attention personally postpartum. There's so many things um, that I feel like I notice myself being hard on myself for, or like having shoulds around, like, oh, we have a nanny today, so I should be working hard, or I should work all hours that she's here, like, as on my business. Like, I should work out and then I should be working. Versus like, okay, I'm kind of having a mom brain day. Like, I'm going to let go of the shoulds and I am going to like use this hour to rest. I'm going to use this hour to like go reflect on the beach and journal. Like, it doesn't have to be productive output all the time. Or, other instances postpartum, like I have been sometimes having like, um, you know, I think looping looping thoughts where I'm like looking for areas of my life or friendships where I don't belong, right? Versus like, oh, I should be focused on all the incredible friends that are showing up for me and not the ones that aren't. But it's like, okay, some part of Meredith like is sleep deprived and tired at certain points in time. And this is like an old core wound and it's like a little inner Meredith survival mechanism. She's feeling a little neglected. So rather than shame her for still, allowing this wound to surface of like, I don't belong, let's be like, okay, little Meredith, like, how are you feeling? Like, what is it like right now inside of your head? Like, and I don't necessarily have to, by validating her feelings doesn't mean I need to agree with them or attach myself to old stories, but I can just be like, okay, the story I'm telling myself, which is a thing Brene Brown says to use, instead of saying, uh, like, they don't include me, right? Because then that makes the story seem more real. But to bring more awareness and separation to it, you can say the story I'm telling myself is that uh, they're excluding me. The story I'm telling myself is that they don't want me to come. The story I'm telling myself is that blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, ooh, okay, little Meredith, like, ouch, I know that might hurt. Like, and I can see that you're, trying really hard and you're doing XYZ things. So, like, what do you need right now to feel seen from me? Right. Just as you would kind of say to like your child or a friend if they weren't feeling seen or if they were kind of letting an old story run rampant. It's like versus shaming myself for like, why do I feel that way? Like I should be focused on all the friends that like are showing up. It's like, okay, well, for some reason, like, it's so funny. We can be a helicopter mom to ourselves, even in self-development, where it's like, I shouldn't be feeling that way. I've already fucking healed from that. I shouldn't be feeling that way. But it's like, that actually defeats the purpose. So it's like, okay, that story is coming up again. Clearly, some part of me is feeling a little unseen or neglected. What does she need? Let me sit with that. And Kristen Neff is like the Brene Brown of self compassion, if you will. And she has this great 3-step process to it where it's like putting 2 hands on your heart. And she says the first step is acknowledging the emotion. So I'm feeling a moment of sadness, or I'm feeling a moment of being excluded, or whatever it might be. So you say that out loud or internally to yourself. And then the second step is acknowledgement of the universal, right? Everyone in the world experiences this like sadness or this feeling of not belonging, right? Connecting your experience to the universal. And then the third breath is a vow to self, renewed vow to self. I promise to be gentle with myself as I move through this feeling of not belonging. Just reminding yourself that it's an emotion that's going to pass. You're going to be on the other side of it. And you promise to be gentle with yourself during it, right? It's like just as you give, a friend who's recovering from surgery that kind of care, knowing that they'll get better, they'll get stronger. It's like, I know I'm moving through it right now. So I'm going to be gentle with myself. What do I need? What do I need to communicate to myself? Do I need to communicate to others? Do I need to set a boundary in place? Do I need to, you know, duck out of a plan gracefully and with gratitude because I need to take care of me? What do I need right now? And so those 3 breaths are a great tool when we are feeling like we're hard on ourselves. Shedding the should. What can I give myself permission for? And the biggest thing with self-compassion is just like knowing that we're trying our best. And again, like in the professional development, and also personal development, it's so easy, like I said, to be hard on ourselves, to be like, I need to heal more things. I need to go to this plant medicine ceremony and this type of therapy and this and this and this. And then we can actually, again, be a helicopter mom to our healing versus like okay, no rhyme or reason. There's no should or shouldn't of why I should feel this way today. I just fucking do. I'm feeling a little low. What do I need? Right. And basically, we're saying to our inner child, I'm here with you. I'm not going anywhere. Let's feel it together. And then we can make a plan on the other side. No need to make a plan now. No need to have more output. Let's just, as Ram Dass would say, be here now. And that is how we feel it to heal it, how we have self compassion. It's the hardest thing. It seems so simple and so profound, but it can be the hardest thing to do. But guys, when I say that the results that clients have had because they've given themselves compassion, I'm like, I shit you not. Like they like in the material world not only have gone on to like finally found their own thing or take the leap because they have like the self-confidence and they know that they've got them and they're not afraid of failure because again they're not going to self-abandon or whatever. I've seen clients like take risks in like going after the love they think they know they deserve, even though it's like risky, or maybe in the past they would have self-sabotaged or thought this person was better than them. I've seen clients like ask for double their raise because they're like, I've got me and this is my worth. Like the self-worth supercharge it has and like the ripple effects in every area of your life when you have the self-compassion is just unparalleled. So yeah, it might seem like soft or intangible, but again, I forget if I already said this, but I'm like, but I shit you not, it will change your life. And I know it's changed mine, like my self compassion. When I was doing the Hoffman process, when I was doing existential kink, when I was reading Calling in the One, when I was trying to call in my soulmate and just being like, I need to be kind to little Meredith. I need to forgive her for all the like cringe things I've done in dating and situationships. And I need to just show up for her. Like the transformation that had the quickness of calling in like an incredible partner, Spencer, and the continued self compassion I have with myself through my marriage and postpartum has only deepened my relationship to my husband even more, made me a better mom to Atlas, and also um, made me a better coach because I want to be able to not just help clients do it, but do it for myself. And as I've done it for myself, I've been able to have even more like exciting things happen in my coaching practice and the experiences that I've been leading and in the opportunities that have come my way because I know that I'm worth it. I'm like L'Oreal because you're worth it. So all of that's to say we have our 3-part breath, but let's also just take a moment for our self-compassion. We'll do a little meditation together. Just take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, sigh it out. And then another breath in. As you exhale, sigh it out, but move both hands to your heart. So be a brief but powerful meditation and feeling your heart beat into your hands beat into your heart. And almost like you're bringing your mind's eye to your heart space. Just seeing your 6-year-old self in your heart. I'm just asking her how she feels in this moment. Letting it be okay, whatever she says or he says. Letting your 6-year-old self know that makes sense. I love you. I'm not going anywhere. And as you hug them, seeing them morph into your teenage self, noticing your teenage self who is also just trying to fit in and be loved, having compassion for your teenage self, just asking your teenage self what they need from you to feel seen or expressed in this moment or chapter. Saying that makes sense. I love you. Not going anywhere. I'm proud of you. So you hug them, feeling them morph into your 20-something self. Asking them what they need to feel seen for. maybe even what they need to release. Just letting them know you're here with them, not going anywhere, hugging them, giving them your love, and then seeing them morph into you present day, looking at yourself, noticing all the ways in which you maybe haven't vocalized how proud you are of you, all the ways you've been showing up quietly, even just by listening to this meditation, right? You're already doing the work. Just so much gratitude for yourself, noticing the beauty, power in you. Just asking, what do you need to feel seen and loved? Telling yourself, I love you, I'm not going anywhere. And as you hug your present day self, feeling the morph into the you at 90 years old, aging with beauty and grace. And as you look at your 90-year-old self, actually just allowing them to speak, hearing them tell you how proud they are of you. And also, like, maybe any wishes for you, like how they want you to savor this time, or how they wish, in hindsight, if self-compassion hadn't changed, like what a burden unnecessarily that would have been to carry that with you. And you could have been living more freely. Whatever wisdom or message they have for you, receiving it, feeling it open in your heart, feeling almost like the chambers of your heart are opening more and more, allowing more golden liquid to flow from your heart to other parts of your body, lifting your veins, brightening your blood, sending an aura out of your skin. And as you feel this deeper compassion for self, almost like in the blink of an eye, seeing how it ripples into other relationships, deepening love and compassion and empathy because you've given it to yourself or others, maybe other friends flash to your mind, or your partner, or a family member you've had a challenging relationship with, or a great relationship with, a coworker, someone who triggers you. And giving everyone this love, giving it back to yourself as you take a deep breath in. Then open mouth, exhale, sigh it out as you slowly open your eyes, coming back into this space. And as I've kind of been saying through the episode, but really making note of where you could give yourself more love, where you could give yourself more grace, where you can give yourself more compassion. And I dare you to have a 7-day acknowledgement challenge. Acknowledge all the wins, the things you see yourself doing, almost like you're like this fairy god manager of yourself, like on your shoulder every day. Like, wow, you did this, like amazing. Wow, you showed up even when you were in your luteal phase, or even when it was hard. Like, I'm so proud of you. And just like acknowledge yourself for the next 7 days of like all that you are doing, and giving yourself permission. So what do I need today? Again, checking in with yourself. What do I need today? How can I give myself that today? And like what is the loving word that you want to give yourself each day? And watch how it changes your life. I can't wait to hear. This is one of my favorite topics. If you want to learn more about self-compassion, like I said, Kristen Neff has a book called Self-Compassion. And of course, this is one of the capstone things I work on with my clients. So if you're interested, we can have a discovery call. I would love to work with you. And it's what we'll be working on in my signature workshop and retreat coming so soon. But thank you guys for listening. This was a reminder to me to constantly be kind to myself. I hope it's a reminder for you to do the same, because being kind to yourself, self-compassion, that is powerful stuff. Hey, you. Thank you for coming on this powerful journey with me. I hope it was as powerful for you as it was for me. And if it was, it would mean the world to me if you rate, review, and subscribe to Powerful Stuff so I can keep bringing you the goods. We can keep going on this transformative journey together. And if there's powerful stuff that you want to share with me, with the Powerful Stuff community, tag us on Instagram at That's Powerful Stuff or The Meredith Baker. And I look forward to seeing you next week for more powerful stuff.